Hi, if you'd like to learn Japanese grammar the easy way, then stick around as we work through the Minna no Nihongo Beginner 1 Grammar series. And remember, there are printable worksheets available in the description below. それでは始めましょう. Alright everyone, welcome back to Japanese Lesson 7. The first grammar point for today will be the day particle. This is really just review from a previous lesson. The grammar point is the day particle indicates a method or mean used for an action. Let's look at some examples. I eat with chopsticks. Hashi de tabemasu. Hashi de tabemasu. With hashi tabemasu. I eat with chopsticks. Next, we'd like to say, I write a report in Japanese. Now here, the mean used or the method used is Japanese. So we want to say, Nihongo de riporto o kakimasu. Nihongo de riporto o kakimasu. And the second grammar point for today is nani nani wa Nihongo de nan desu ka? Nani nani wa Nihongo de nan desu ka? And this is a phrase that we use to ask what a word or sentence means in another language. So we can substitute Nihongo de for eigo de. And that's what we do here in the first example. We want to ask, what is arigato in English? Arigato wa eigo de nan desu ka? Arigato wa, because arigato is our topic or our subject, and eigo de is the method that we'd like to use. So we'd like to use the method of English, and we're asking what is nan desu ka? And we would respond by saying, it means thank you. Thank you desu. So I don't really recommend memorizing all of the sentences from this course, but this is one that's really good. If you're doing conversation practices with a friend and he says something that you don't know, like kokusai kankei, you can say, Kokusai kankei wa eigo de nan desu ka? And then your Japanese friend could respond, international relations desu. So it's a very handy phrase. And the Japanese song of the day is Kosui Eto. This is an acoustic song. It's just vocals and a guitar. So if you play guitar like me, you might really enjoy this song. It's super easy to chord along with, and it's a lot of fun. If you like this video, please go ahead and click the subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and smash that like button. Thank you so much. All right, and the next grammar point is person ni agemasu, kashimasu, or oshiemasu, to give, to lend, or to teach. In the first example, I'd like to say, I teach Sato English. Sato ni eigo o oshiemasu. Let's break this sentence down. First of all, the full sentence would be, Watashi wa Sato ni eigo o oshiemasu. But we know that we can remove watashi wa because it's the topic, and we don't always have to state the topic in Japanese. Sato ni is because sato is who is being taught, and that's what the ni is indicating here. Eigo o, because eigo is what is being taught, and oshiemasu is our verb, to teach. So, sato ni eigo oshiemasu. If we make the sentence in its absolute most simple form, it would be, I teach Sato. Sato ni oshiemasu. Sato ni oshiemasu. So you could remove eigo. Let's look at another example. I lent my book to Miss Lee. Ri-san ni hon o kashimashita. Ri-san ni hon o kashimashita. It's kashimashita, of course, because it's past tense, so we use mashita. And Ri-san is the person who's receiving the book, the person who the book was lent to. And hon is what was being lent, so it's hon o kashimashita. Ri-san ni hon o kashimashita. The agemasu example would be, Yamada gave flowers to Miss Kimura. Yamada-san wa Kimura-san ni hana o agemashita. Now, I use kanji in here, and I'm sorry. I'm not doing it to force kanji on you, but unfortunately, the sentences are getting too long to fit in the confines of the slides. So we really need to start using kanji in some limited situations. In this case, I use them with personal names. You don't have to memorize them. Yamada-san wa Kimura-san ni hana o agemashita. So it's Yamada-san wa because instead of watashi wa, I'm not the one who's giving. It's Yamada-san who gave. So Yamada-san is the topic because he's the person who gave. Yamada-san wa Kimura-san ni. Kimura-san is the person who received, so we mark her with the ni. And hana means flower. Hana is what was given, so we say hana o agemashita. Next we have person ni moraimasu. Moraimasu means to receive. Now, in grammar point 3, all of our verbs are verbs where the topic of the sentence was the doer of the action. Okay? So the topic gave something, or lent something, or taught something. In grammar point 4, all of the verbs are verbs where the topic is the receiver, or on the receiving end of the verb. Let's look at a few examples. This is going to change the way that we as English speakers perceive the usage of the ni particle. I promise you the usage of the ni particle hasn't actually changed, but in English the ni particle would be translated to a different word in this case. Therefore, our mind perceives it in a different way. Let's try to learn how to think of it in the Japanese way. In the first example, we have, I borrowed a CD from Miss Karina. Karina-san ni CD o karimashita. Karina-san ni CD o karimashita. The first thing that I like to do is make it a complete sentence, so we'll add the topic back in. Watashi wa Karina-san ni CD o karimashita. All right, now let's make it the most simple sentence we can. And in English, that would just be I borrowed. So, watashi wa karimashita. So if we know that watashi wa karimashita is the core of the sentence, I borrowed, it kind of becomes obvious what comes before the ni particle, doesn't it? It has to be Miss Karina. So, watashi wa Karina-san ni CD o karimashita. Again, the o particle is used to indicate the CD because the CD is what is being borrowed. Let's look at number 2. I learned Chinese from Mr. Wang. Wang-san ni chugoku o naraimasu. Again, let's make it a full sentence. Watashi wa Wang-san ni chugoku o naraimasu. Now, the most simple sentence. I learn. Watashi wa naraimasu. Since we know watashi wa naraimasu is the core of the sentence, we know that Mr. Wang must come before the ni particle. So, Wang-san ni chugoku o naraimasu. Chugoku o because chugoku is what is being learned. In the third example sentence, we'd like to say, Miss Kimura received flowers from Mr. Yamada. Kimura-san wa Yamada-san ni hana o moraimashita. In this case, the topic of the sentence has already been stated for us. Kimura-san. Kimura-san wa moraimashita is the most simple form of the sentence. It's the same as in English. Miss Kimura received. Okay? So Yamada-san must be before the ni. Kimura-san wa Yamada-san ni hana o moraimashita. Kimura-san wa Yamada-san ni hana o moraimashita. The point of these sentences here is to emphasize that you can use kara instead of ni in some sentence patterns. Kara is sometimes used instead of ni in this sentence pattern. When you receive something from an organization like a school or a company, only kara is used. Let's look at a couple of examples. Miss Kimura received flowers from Mr. Yamada. It's the same as before. It's the same one we just did. Kimura-san wa Yamada-san kara hana o moraimashita. So in this case, we can use kara instead of ni. Kara means from. So it's actually a little bit easier to understand. Kimura-san wa Yamada-san from hana o moraimashita. Let's look at one more example. I borrowed some money from the bank. Ginko kara okane o karimashita. Again, we'll add in the topic. Watashi wa ginko kara okane o karimashita. The most basic form of this sentence is I borrowed. Watashi wa karimashita. And then ginko kara, because we're talking about an organization or a company, kara must be used. Okay? Watashi wa ginko kara okane o karimashita. The lesson 7 pop quiz is Kuo wa Nihongo de nan desu ka? Kuo wa Nihongo de nan desu ka? The possible answers are shiawase desu or kakoi desu. Shiawase desu or kakoi desu. If you answered kakoi desu, you're correct. The final grammar point for lesson 7 is mo verb mashita. Mo is sort of like yet in English. So let's look at an example. Have you sent the parcel yet? Mo nimotsu o okurimashita ka? Mo nimotsu o okurimashita ka? We could answer, yes, I have. Hai okurimashita. So we repeat the verb. Hai okurimashita. Or, no, not yet. Ie mada desu. Mada is like not yet in this case. Ie mada desu. It is now time for the lesson 7 conversation practice. Santo-san says, Gomen kudasai. Hello. But literally, please excuse me, or something like that. Yamada-san replies, Irashai, dozo o agari kudasai. Hello, please come in. Santo says, Shitsurei shimasu. Thank you, but literally something more like excuse me. Yamada-san says, Kohi wa ikaga desu ka? How about a cup of coffee? Santo says, Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you. Yamada says, Dozo. Here you are. And Santo says, Itadakimasu. Kono spoonu suteki desu ne. Thank you. This spoon is nice, isn't it? Yamada-san says, kaisha no hito ni moraimashita. Yoropo rokko no omiyagi desu. Yes, it is. Someone in my company gave it to me. It's a souvenir from Europe. Wow, you made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much. I'm working every day to bring the quality of these videos up higher. They're not where I want them to be right now, but I'm working to get them there. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope to see you in the next video. Ja, mata ne.